Roblox is changing, with lazily made, low-quality brain-rot games dominating the platform. Money-hungry companies buying and killing games, passion projects and genuinely fun games fading into the background. AI literally creating entire experiences, taking the creativity of what Roblox used to be. No one really knows what's gonna happen in this new era. What good games, bad games, and weird games could possibly come out of this? What's gonna happen in the future of the most popular game in the world, played, hated, and loved by billions of people, Roblox. So before I talk about what's going to happen, I want to talk a little bit about the past and how we got to the era we're in now. If we look at how Roblox trends changed over time up until now, it could help us figure out what's going to happen in the future of Roblox games. So just for the sake of this video, we're going to start from when Roblox games were actually games and not this. Starting with the era of Roblox I'm calling Classic Roblox, from 2008 to 2010 and maybe a little bit later, but those are just the numbers I'm using for this video. This was the time of Roblox gears. If you don't know what they were like items that gave you abilities and you can use them in almost every game. Classic old games like Ultimate Paintball, Bloxville, and Natural Disaster Survival were made in this era. But now we're moving on to the old Roblox era. When people say old Roblox, this is most likely what they're talking about. This era was back in 2016 to 2018. Games like Murder Mystery 2, Shark Bite, Deep City, Jailbreak, which are all classics, were popular in this era. Then the COVID era, which was from 2019 to 2023. Everyone was home and bored, so people played a lot of video games, including Roblox. In this time, games like Build-A-Boat, Adopt Me, Bloxburg, and Meep City were very popular. This is also when Doors came out, and that was actually its peak popularity. If you can't tell, a lot of these games are roleplay games, which makes sense, since people were locked inside without socializing. So social games where you go outside and do normal things were popular because you really couldn't do those normal things during COVID. The games in these eras were relevant as to what was happening in the world, like how COVID made it so that more roleplay games were popular. And games in these Roblox eras got better as the technology got better, especially in terms of graphics. As time went on, games were looking better and becoming more complex and fun in gameplay, because the Roblox technology allowed for it to do that. But nowadays, it feels like the games that are popular are just going backwards in quality, even though the things you can do and make on Roblox are becoming more and more limitless. So now as time goes on, are games just gonna become less and less creative? That doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna propose two different possibilities of what could happen in the future of Roblox, starting with the one, the only, the bad. So if Roblox continues to go down the path they're going down right now, things aren't gonna go very well. And I'm not even gonna mention all the legal stuff. Like, Roblox, do better. But here's what could very well happen. Roblox continues to become completely overrun by greed, and instead of promoting and supporting actually good games and passion projects, they advertise and popularize the ones that make them the most money, which just so happens to be garbage brain rot games. But why wouldn't they? They're a big corporation, so of course they're gonna promote what makes them the most money. And as you most likely know, when people see that something works, they're gonna copy it. Especially if that thing that's working has the possibility to make you lots of money. And like we're already seeing a lot, people will make copies. People will make knockoff games of these games that are already bad. At least right now when you look on your homepage, you might see one or two good games, but eventually this is not going to be the case. There will be all completely AI generated brain rot copy games of already existing games, and to find anything good, you'll have to search it up. This is because everyone will be shooting their shot trying to make the next big game based off these horrible ones. And this worries me because what's gonna happen to the development teams who do this for a living, like Elsplash and Urban Shade, who make genuinely good games and put effort into their updates, but just don't seem to get the popularity that they deserve. The reason I'm worried is because these new games are essentially stealing the players from doors and pressure. But that's not all, because at least human-made stuff is better than AI-generated slop. And because AI is getting so powerful, people can literally make entire games by just typing in a few prompts into AI. So obviously, this is really not good. The whole point of Roblox is creative people making creative games. That's what it was all about. So yeah, there's going to be a huge uprising of AI-generated games on Roblox, and when you're playing them, you might not even notice they weren't even made by a human. That's the scary part. But anyway, like I was saying before, these new games are essentially stealing the players from doors and pressure. So eventually, when the devs realize their game is dead, they're going to have to shift gears, come up with a new strategy. Well, yeah, they could come up with new updates to their game, bringing back maybe another 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 players. It's just not gonna work in the long run, as we've seen with some of the doors and pressure updates recently. So then, out of pure desperation to make money off of their games, because this is their full-time job, they might try to make a game that is like Grow a Garden, where it's just mindless slop. And you might be thinking to yourself, my favorite game studio, my favorite developers aren't gonna turn to the bad side. Well, here's some proof for you that it's very possible that this could happen. So here's a post from the developer of Loc Official, who said he was forced to make a game in 7 days and that he accidentally got his new brainrot game on the top of Up and Coming. Now, keep in mind, this game was made as a joke with a friend, and this game with little to no effort put into it, well, you know what, just pause and read. But that's not all, because the developer of Pressure, Urban Shade, responded with, well, you know, this could work if we ever need funding. And I'm sure this was partly a joke, but this could very possibly happen. Well, these developers might promise to keep working on their good games, but eventually when they see that the bad ones make more money, it's likely that they'll go full-time on these games. Now, I'm sure they're not going to immediately stop development on their good game and do a complete 180 and work on the bad ones, but it'll be more of like a slow transition, where they'll stop updating their good games as frequently. Then it'll be way longer between any updates or any posts or teasers or trailers for them, and eventually they'll just give up because it's just not working. It's also obvious that these low quality games are way less difficult and stressful to make. This is why games like this can pump out updates every single week. But something else could happen with the developers who still work on their good games. Now, these high-quality games will be scrambling to try to put out as many good, amazing updates to bring players back. And this could be a big problem if it goes one of two ways. If the developers are rushing so much to get good updates out, they will just be rushed, buggy messes, which is the complete opposite of what they're going for. But there's also a chance that we could get some of the best updates in the history of these games in this time period, because developers will be trying their hardest to desperately get as many players back as possible by making the best updates possible. So if millions of Steal a Brainrot copies and AI-generated games do take over Roblox, at least I have this to look forward to. But maybe Roblox will end up better than we're all expecting. Maybe we'll experience the... So after a considerable amount of pondering, this is how I think the downfall of brainrot games could go. So just like how other game types and trends die, this one could too. Like, for example, the sit-in-line games, which were absolutely boring, and story games, which were huge a handful of years ago. Brainrot games could eventually die out too. But something big would need to happen, like community backlash and just the trend overall becoming old. Eventually, people will stop thinking this Italian brainrot thing is funny, not that it ever was, and move on. Speaking of backlash, something that's been getting a lot of backlash recently and for a long time is loot boxes. Loot boxes in games is where you're essentially gambling by spending Robux for the slight chance to get what you want. And that thing that you might win, it kinda sucks. If Roblox becomes logical and starts cracking down on those games, stopping them from having gambling, these games will make less money, and they'll have to come up with creative ways to get Robux, and therefore make more money. This means that they could possibly make better, more creative games. And I also know that AI is not just going to suddenly stop in Roblox, because it's an extremely powerful tool that can make someone who's even never done game development ever actually make a game. So even with the good ending of Roblox, I know that AI generated games aren't going to stop. Maybe they'll become a lot less popular, which is something I hope for, but like I said, it's just gonna stick around for a long time. And between people thinking that Italian brain rot and just brain rot games in general are weird and a waste of time, and Roblox starting to crack down about what kind of games and things in games they allow on their platform, if big games like Doors and Pressure and maybe even Blox Fruits, or really any game with real effort put into them, get any big crazy updates, they could actually reach the top of the homepage or the top of the most active players. I know this is all just random speculation for the sake of this video, but it is possible. It is possible that Roblox games could start going back in the right direction, and not whatever this is. So, like I said many times before, just play what you like. You don't need to follow the trends of what's popular on Roblox. And you don't have to listen to some random YouTuber on the internet try to tell you what kinds of games are better than others. So that's it for this video, but if you want to learn why these low quality games are getting so popular while good quality games just die out, then check out this video I made that I linked on the end card. And also shout out to Wind, he's also trapped down here with me in Doot's basement. Doot, let me out of your basement, please. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have an impeccable day. And goodbye.